Live, I'm live. All right. All right. Let me just check my if this working. Check. Check. All right, great. Let me stand back a bit. I was wondering if I should stand or sit. Let me see. A little bit higher than that. Okay, that should be good. All right, that should be good. I want my whole head to be seen for some reason. uh, all right, we'll do this like that. Okay. So yeah, so today we're going to talk about scholarship and why it's important, why I do it. And so, because a lot of people, eh, when you don't know much about it, it's like, why do you have to, reference certain things? Why can't you just make certain points, you know? Um, and so I just want to give everyone an idea of what it means and and how it fits with what I'm doing and why it's beneficial in general. I'm gonna bring this up higher. You got to be at my eye level. Oh, okay, so that's not gonna reach my eye level. But anyway, at least I can be closer. So, well, anyway, yeah. So sorry about that. So yeah, so I just basically I want to make some arguments for that. I'm very systematic. I want to make sure I got all my bases covered. I want to make sure all my bases are covered. So yeah, like I was saying, people get somewhat confused because it's this weird thing where you have to cite different things. And I remember once someone told me, why do you have to say, oh, so and so said this or that? Why can't you just say this or that? And it's just it's like this again, the scholar in me. It's just those things matter to me, and they matter when you're trying to figure out what something is. And I'm going to explain that. So, scholarship essentially is one long conversation about a certain topic. And so, if you're trying to learn about something, and there's scholarship on, there's scholarship threads um, in every conceivable topic, not to all the same volume or degree, but everything you could think of has been studied to some degree, or at least like people have come together to like say, okay, this is what we know about it, and how can we improve that or what have you. So you got to think of it like when you want to approach a topic, you know, you first of all, you don't want to reinvent the wheel, right? You don't want to go over territory that's already been treaded on. Um, because you're just wasting your time. Now if you want to waste your time. If you don't care, but if you really want to make an actual understanding, if you want to have an actual understanding of something, um, you really want to know the most you can, or at least the best knowledge there is of it. You got to go into scholarship. And so when I make my my robust theory of American exceptionalism, um, I'm basically deriving it from scholarship. And briefly, in that case, essentially like political philosophy, social science, and what was the other one again? I have it written down. Hold on, but I want to remember it from memory. It was yeah. I just thought about this like 2 weeks ago. Uh, social science. um, political philosophy, and I guess history. I'm gonna make sure about that. I have it here. And my trusty. Wait, how did the Blues Clues know? My no, my handy dandy. That's what he said. My handy dandy notepad. Um, yeah. So before that, there it is. So yeah. So for instance, the scholarship I'm using for my overall project on creating a theory of American exceptionalism is based on thematical philosophy, American history, and behavioral slash social science. So those three areas are the out, the no, I guess inputs. They're the outlets of the world that the channels. There we go. That I derive my scholarship from, right? And and obviously this is broad, and those categories are broad, but um, essentially that's where I derive my scholarship from. So um, when again, scholarship isn't for everybody, but it is important. You want to make sure if you're making a point that it matters. So um, given that scholarly conversation has been going on for like, years, decades, hundreds of years, depending on what topic it is. Um, when you come into it, when you join it, right? You got to join it. You have to, very much like joining a movie halfway, as it's already been playing for, a long time. And so when you come into a movie theater and the movie's been playing already, you haven't watched a third of it, and so there's a lot of questions that would have been answered if you sat through the whole thing. Now, what do you do though? You want to watch this movie and you're there sitting down. What are you going to start doing? You're going to start bothering the people or whatever? No. What do you have to do? You have to grim and bear it and try to figure it out on your own. Maybe you take out your phone real quick on low brightness, and you look through it to see, okay, what's this plot of the movie or some kind of synopsis or something, right? Um, and then from there, once you got a hang of it, then you could contribute to it in the sense of critique it or say I like this more than that, or why this is good or this sucks. um and so that's kind of the analogy I'm using here. You're really joining a conversation, and it's been ongoing, right? So this conversation is, like I said, the vanguard. It's the cutting edge of a concept. And again, this isn't because the people contributing to it are at some university or something. That's not what makes it cutting edge. It's that people have been talking about a subject and using, in some cases, jargon and specified jargon and other things to really try to be serious about figuring out what this is, and not only making discoveries, but making sure that you can communicate those discoveries to that conversation, to that community, collective conversation. And so, um, when you do scholarship, right, and you want to contribute something, you don't want to just have it parachute into the conversation, right? Just kind of like almost like you have the river, and then you just throw a bucket of water into the river or something, right? You don't want to do that. How's my I'm tired. You don't want to just throw the bucket of water into the river. You want to merge into it in a more natural way. And so the way you do that is, like I said, taking the time to see what the playing field is, and then come up with an idea that you could, for every piece of it, for every facet of the idea, for every, proposition or fact or whatever, you can tie it to something that's been done in scholarship in a logical way, obviously. Um, and so, what you do is you're not just making a comment. You're not just saying, here's my 2 cents. You're taking the time to make sure that whatever you're saying is novel, one, and two, that it works to advance that which has come before. So if someone was looking at, you know, uh, I don't know, the, let's say it's like about the feminism of movies or something, and let's say one feminist was looking at, you know, screen time for women, the amount of screen time versus men, and then from that, let's say someone comes in to add to that, saying, okay, I want to look at not just a screen time, but how screen time affects character development, so that if the woman is there talking about a man, then I'm gonna take off points or say that's not, that's misogynist or something. Um, but if you have a woman talking about a non-man, or I guess just an idea, um, then you get feminist points or whatever. Uh, and so you can see how you build off of things, and that's how scholarship is. And that's all this, like, so when someone gets like a PhD, right? That's essentially what they're doing. So the difference really between a master's and a PhD, well, they're basically the same thing up into the last, thesis or dissertation. That's where they differ. And because essentially a PhD, you go through a master's to get there. Like that's your coursework, and then you take the qualification exams, and then from there you go to dissertation, which is that scholarship part, right? Whereas the masters, you you do that same thing, go through the different classes, and then but instead of taking 3 years to do taking the scholarship to really go deep, instead you just go over like a semester, and you're not making. I mean, you're making an original contribution, but one that's not as strictly tied to that scholarship, bringing that along, right? Honing in on a specific field or subfield, and propagating that. This is more just like make sure that whatever thesis you come up with is, you could back it up, right? In an essay or in a paper. So, um, so yeah, so that's really the difference between them. And so while they're both technically scholarly, a thesis and a dissertation, a master's thesis is less less scholarly, really, because a PhD, like I said, is very you spend years, 3 to 5 years on just learning about the topic, the specific topic, and seeing in a very hone in detail, right? Like not like a 101 level, like you really you're going very deep about a very small topic, and then you're seeing, okay, like what ways can I advance this part to that part, or weave together something from the strands that came before, and try and figure out what pattern or how to weave it and which strands to use and all that. And also relative, right? You can't just, it has to matter, it has to make a difference. It can't just be like, okay, here's something new. No, it's like, give me, something that's relevant, something that we would want. Um, so anyway, so you want to really avoid recreating the wheel. And now, what about me? Why should I do scholarship like this? Especially, um, you know, I mean, I have two graduate degrees in behavioral sciences, but not in political science. although I'm a philomath, right? I love learning, and so um, that's what I'm doing right now. And by the way, I'm going to make another video about my something called the organon, and that's it's a word that I got from Aristotle, where Aristotle, the organon was for Aristotle, basically a book or a piece about his, you know, what his methods were, like how he came to conclusions, like almost like a meta version of his ordinary work. And so in the same way, because I'm a very skills based person. I like skills. I love content. Content's great, but I think skills, when you're teaching someone something, you're better off teaching them skills, if not anything else, because at least with skills they could teach themselves things. If it's just content, you're like being spoon fed like a baby. So um oh darn, I forgot where I was going. um oh yeah, so why am I doing it though? Why me, right? um Oh yeah, that's the organon. So anyway, so I'm gonna that's gonna come out sometime soon. A video about that. Um, I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot and say, I'm gonna hopefully make it a PowerPoint video, um, because I'm gonna have things I want to put together. I want to make it nice, not just like what I'm doing here. I just uh, this I wanted to do this to make a point, but also kind of riff a bit. And I don't dress like this every day, but I think I might start doing it. You know. I would dress like this when I give lectures, as a professor, but can't have a job anymore as a lecturer because I don't want to get something. There's some kind of thing that you need to get that they say you can't work anywhere. Some kind of thing. So anyway, I don't want to have that thing and can't work in the thing that I am trained in. But well, is God has plans, right? You close the door and you open a window. But anyway, so yeah, I'm thinking about dressing like this ordinarily, especially because I feel like when I'm doing work, it's almost like I take myself more seriously. But anyway, I mean, not to say that I don't, but it's just I don't know. Seems more like like don't get off of Twitter, don't don't watch that, get off of YouTube shorts or whatever, scrolling, just like you know, I don't know, it's weird. But anyway, um, so why, what makes me more suited than some other guy? And that's basically my specialty, my background in graduate school and my graduate training, essentially, is in psychology, in different areas of psychology, but essentially in experimental psychology and what's known as IO psych, or essentially broadly applied psychology. And so psychology is what's known as a hub science, right? So if they've done a study, and I have it there, can't show you right away. I mean, but it's there. It's from 2002. Um, you actually put in hub science into Wikipedia. It's like I think the second footnote, but it's there. Um, and so what hub science is essentially is a study in 2002 where they wanted to see, what scientific fields were related to one another, kind of like graphically represent that. And so what they found was that you essentially had almost like, I guess, like a wheel, With so not much in the center, but all around the edges, like and then you would have like little spokes, or the spokes is no hubs. We'll say hubs, like almost like mini hubcaps along the edge. And you could think of these hubcaps almost like turbines moving along information and semantics, all that stuff, just moving, moving from one to the other, like like whirlpools or something, right? Um, and there's certain hubs, certain around as you go along the circle, and one of those is psychology. And I'm gonna go on a limb and say I think it was the biggest one, but maybe not. Um, I'll say that. Um, um, Interestingly, though, a side note, there was not much in the center, but there was something in the center, and so there's a science that I guess you could say has a little bit of every other science in it, although it's not too influential, at least yet, and that is neuroscience. Neuroscience has basically almost all the sciences you could think of: is physics, chemistry, biology, psychology, and now in some ways sociology and whatnot. So and computation, so formal sciences, mathematics, all that stuff, computer science. It's it is pretty, it is a marvel there. Although it's important outside of medicine is inflated. Within medicine, it's beautiful. But the next step for for that is going to be the fMRI you could wear like a helmet and then walk around. That's going to be the next big technological hurdle. But um, psychology though wasn't in the center because obviously it has some unique aspects. But what it is though is something that okay. This is what now I remember that. I'm sorry. So yeah, so neuroscience is in the center, but what psychology is, along with some other fields like social science and physics and some other stuff, is that it creates like a whirlpool within a bigger pool, right? So think of like a pond, and there's like several whirlpools, and so um, psychology is like that whirlpool, and essentially other disciplines revolve around it. So it essentially not only has a little bit of itself in other things, which it does. Psychology covers all behavioral science, but um, it also facilitates like almost like a bridge communication or research between a different field. So um, you can imagine psychology being a bridge between something like sociology and um, and neurochemistry, right? Um, anyway, so given that's my case there, that makes me more than suited to to take on a project that's interdisciplinary. Something that essentially involves, for the most part, all of the what are known as the human sciences, right? So this is not just social science or behavioral science, but basically everything that involves humans. Um, and then you could say the other science would be something like the informational science, or yeah. Another way to think about it maybe is relational sciences and uh, informational sciences, but forget about that. Just no human sciences. That's it. Um, so there's no physics or anything. Although I have some human geography literature that deals with energy um, uh, distributions. Like actually one of them calls for a slow emergency, saying that we got to change our conception, our notion of an emergency to basically make it. everything that it's not, something that doesn't have a definite point, that's not alarming, that you don't need to like, run around and put a fire out. It's like almost like and they literally call it slow burn. It's like a slow burning, almost like some smell in the air that's just constantly there, reminding you that it's there, but it's not gonna kill you, it's not gonna jump at you, there's nothing that you need to do right now, it's just but you gotta know it's there, and then you can imagine when people wear the masks and stuff, right? It's like, yeah, we're in a certain thing, and you see that mask, oh, there we go. We're in that mode, and so, that's how it is too. Um, Also wanna say something, there's, this idea of like a formation of the mass people, and I wanna say that's bullshit. That's bullshit. It's not mass formation. Honestly, I think the dude spreading that is a bullshit artist, because no self-respecting scientist would, this actually ties in good. This is not a tangent. No self-respecting scientist would just have an idea and just throw it out there. They would always offer, or at least, like, if you're still hypothesis stage, you're not going to be flaunting it to lay audiences, but essentially you're not going to have something that it doesn't come from the scholarship, right? um if there's something in the scholarship, because that's the whole point of scholarship, is you're seeing what's been done, and you're basically ignoring that. Well, he is, because he's like, here's this idea, this formation thing, and it's like you can't find this anywhere. It's just his. He like two papers of his on it. It's completely idiosyncratic. And I'm like, hey, there's a actual theory here that's been talked about and written about and tested on for over a decade, and that's called symbolic coping theory. Has a large literature, and that says that, hey, whenever you have like an unexpected, traumatic event, like something like for me, I had a flood a couple years ago, and I never had a flood before that, and so I didn't know what to do. Like, I was literally like, I was left with like, I didn't know what to do, because the place is flooded. There's water up to almost up to my knees, and you're just like, w- you can't even fathom what you're supposed to do, right? Do you call the fire department? No. I mean, and the drains aren't working, and so in that place, you're basically left with like your normal way of like reasoning has left you out in the cold, basically, like, on your own. That way of reasoning before, you're gone. It's gone. And so you're basically left like almost like a baby. Like, you don't know what to do. And so what happens is, in that stage, you become extremely receptive to you know, a new set of rules, a new set of reasoning skills or reasoning ability. Um, a new, so I'll give you an example. So that thing happened, a couple of years ago, and then people were like, "Well, okay, freedom, yeah, but danger." And it's like, oh man, our ordinary notion of freedom is inadequate. It doesn't, because of danger. And so, what do you do about it? And so you got to have a new conception of what liberty is, or even to say liberty, but this, or even no liberty, this instead, whatever it is. the so if you want to get someone to change their ingrown, their die in the wool beliefs of why they believe certain things should be the way they are, you got to put them in that crisis state where they don't know what to do, and then you offer them, here's the solution, and then they'll eat it right up. And that's what happened in the thing, because look what people did. Which this thing about amnesty. Let me tell you something about amnesty. Don't talk to me about amnesty. Talk to the people whose parents had to die while alone in nursing homes or in hospitals where they weren't allowed any visitation. Some of them with Alzheimer's, so they're confused about why they're alone. They're like, where are people? Where's my kid? And so it's I have a picture on Twitter saved of a um of a nurse that filled up two rubber gloves, latex gloves, with warm water and tied it together at the fingertips and then put it around the hand of an elderly patient so that they could feel a warm what feel so they could have the sensation of a warm hand where there was none, out of fucking mercy. Well, there goes the monetization, the monetization or whatever. But I mean, man. So you wanna have amnesty? Talk to those people. Talk about that. Say, talk to the third of business owners who didn't weren't able to come back open, you know, weren't able to open up again, basically lost everything. Especially a lot of them being new time businesses, people that, spry and saved up all this money and they bought the store, and now they're starting to run the store and everything just seems all great, and then boom, this stupid thing happens. And now they, basically they're left where they were before they even had anything. Or talk to the parents who lost children due to suicide or whatever, unalive, whatever. But yeah, have lost their kids to that because because it went up like uh, like two times or something twice as many kids did that, um, because they didn't know when they were going to be allowed to go outside with their friends again and play, be let out of the home. Because for a kid, especially like an 8-year old or whatever, 6 months might as well be like 3 or 4 years, or maybe even longer, maybe like 10 years. And so kids made children made the decision. So don't go to Bill Maher and ask for amnesty. Go to those victims. Go to those parents that lost the kids there. Go to the people that weren't able to hold their parents' hand as they were dying. Go to all the children who now are uh, s- uh, falling behind in literacy and having delayed speech. Ask them for amnesty. Look in their eyes and say, you know what? I'm sorry that I pushed for policies that people told me this would happen as a result, but I pushed those policies and I called you basically like a Nazi for, and I was basically saying, if you're in the hospital, we're not going to serve you. We're gonna treat somebody else, because you're a waste of space. Don't go to Bill Maher. Go to those victims. That's evil, man. That messed me up in society in many different ways. And I was already like, because I'm here, back in the day, criticizing or not even criticizing, like just questioning things like the wage gap, you know, and when we're in academia, forget about it. But now that coupled with forget about it, you know. But I'm so glad I didn't put up with any of it because I mean, look, especially that. because I mean, for real, look where it ended up. I mean, something like 3% of people or something are getting the new ones. And it's like no one cares, man. And wow, but you know, you know, honestly, I can't forgive those people unless they try to they do things, tangible things to make sure that never happens again, whatever that is. But like, not just like make a statement, but like, ongoing, like some form of community service where you're serving the community by ensuring those things never happen again. And almost like the way with they have with the Holocaust, with the Shoah. They say we never forget. We got to keep reminding people so that they could see that this is something that could happen. Especially in what was then, the high point of civilization, Germany, the Weimar Republic, that was, a high point of all these arts and literature and all stuff. It wasn't a backward civilization, it was like literally at the forefront of creating culture and operas and all this stuff. And so that's what they do that for. And so, okay, you do that, start a foundation, do tangible things to remind people, what happened in COVID. I mean, they're still trying to pass bills that say, fuck, I said it. They're still trying to they're still trying to pass bills that in New York state, that say, if we declare there's some not even something deadly, just something that is contagious, that's spreading, that we could literally not only shut people in their homes, but we could move people out of their homes if and put them into certain areas, certain facilities. If you're in a certain, a radius or certain block area, you got, we have the power. They're still trying to pass those. Those are still trying to be going through the assembly. And so, I mean, this is, but the fact that they're asking for amnesty, I think, is just pressure, because they know there's no way out of that. There's no way to justify that shit. And they did so much damage, but at the same time, God works in mysterious ways. Really, it we needed it. Not I don't want to say it that way. 'Cause there's so much destruction and pain. I don't want to say. I don't want to look at someone's in the eyes and tell them, we needed, your kid to, do that. Um, but so I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that we needed to see certain things. This unveiled certain things about society that now are um, undeniable. Things that are problems with it, that otherwise we wouldn't know. No, we wouldn't have a mass confirmation of it. Only some people would know about it, and other people most people would ignore it or dismiss it. Now that this is it's so open. you know they didn't see the covering, they saw the wound itself, right? That's it. you know they're gonna have to reconcile with that. And that's what um you know why it was something that had to happen. It had to happen, as sad as it is. Anyway, so yeah, I knew this was going to be long, because that's why I did it. I literally had 3 points. Like, I could do this whole thing in 20 seconds. Hey, scholarship is important, because when you want to learn about something and convey ideas to people that make a difference, you need to know about those long, protracted conversations that scholars have had over many years or decades, what have you, about the topic, so you can learn what the vanguard is, understand it in the best way you can. And so you don't want to reinvent the wheel and go over terrain that's already been um, treaded on. You want to tread on new terrain. You don't want to waste your time going, discovering something that someone's already been to. You really want to make a true discovery. And so um, m- I'm specially suited to that because my background, my graduate training has put me in a place where I can um, basically be at the intersection of many different disciplines and have a common framework, to adjudicate and to basically to have my methods, which I'm going to use, and which I'm not going to use, which I'm going to use, but which I'm going to explain in a later video. Uh, and it's going to have the title "Organon." But anyway, see, what was that? Like a minute and a half at most? I mean, not even. So you see, I could do it, but I wanted to kind of just hang out because I like riffing. And like I said, I don't dress like this every day, but I think we'll start doing it though because it's like it's more, you know. As for my hair, I could put beeswax in it so all these little fucking strands come around. Can be tamed, but we're just freewheeling here. We're having fun, So America's great, it really is, really is. Um, kind of want to make it at 45, but why not? 41 minutes, that's good enough, right? I don't know why I do it. It's like I'm almost like secretly into numerology or something. It's like no, it has to be 45. No, who cares? Anyway, thank you for watching. Um, Questions, leave them in the chat or not in the chat, in the comment section. And yeah, yeah. Please like, share, and subscribe. That's it. All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you for watching.